Welcome to our episode of Barman Saturdays, and it's time to return to Crazy for Cars with Little Cars 3, Fast and Curious. And while it's longer than the previous entry and the first entry, it does so by not telling 3 mini stories, but telling 4. So you basically get like 4 10-minute stories, roughly. In the first story, we get introduced to one of Chris's old flings, Akira. So yeah, he's named after one of the most famous anime characters of all time.
Kira, is that really you?
That's right, girl. I'm a high-performance stud.
And he's a drifter, so he likes doing drift racing. Is considered one of the best around, apparently. But he has no time for actual racers because they're sissies. Because they go in circles on a track. He's like, I can't be contained to a racetrack that goes in circles. I need to drift on dangerous roads where if you screw up, you get thrown off a mountain. And you gotta make sure that you can hear the squeal of your tires, because that's real racing grit. At any rate, he challenges Tony by basically telling him to his face he's a sissy and he's taking his girlfriend away if he doesn't beat him. So, Tony agrees. Even though Chris points out, you've already won my heart, so this is absolutely pointless.
Tony, you've already won me.
And will only interfere with your job, because you have to be up early on Sunday at the racetrack, and he's challenging you to a race at midnight on Saturday, because I assume that's, when the police and stuff, aren't really hanging out around the mountain. Though you think people would get word of, an illegal racing group, on the mountain at some point. I mean, it seems a bit weird you'd be doing that stuff and not have people, placing bets or something on it to make money off of it. Because otherwise, what's the point? It's just pure bragging rights, and there's no point in doing that on a regular basis. Because there he calls himself the best. I assume they do it all the time. At any rate, apparently Tony's sponsors have been giving them rather subpar tires. They're supposedly high-end, but they frequently cause drifting issues. And this allows Tony to win the race, because even though he doesn't want to drift, he's forced to drift by the tires, and learns to actually get the hang of it, by taking part in this race, so he can use it when he's on the actual track, while using these substandard parts. But they have to end things by making Tony look like a jerk also after the race, by telling Akira, it's a good race for an amateur. And his girlfriend and him, take off laughing.
You may not have won, but you raced a good race. For an amateur.
I guess, technically they ended after he shows up next day for his race and tells the pit crew not to worry about it. He's got things all under control because he's going to drift with style. But, yeah, I honestly don't know why they had to make Tony be a massive jerk to Akira at the end there. Like, be the better car, man. I'm just saying. The second story involves Tony being sick, so he sends Combo to basically babysit his cousin who's visiting, named, was it Bulkus or Bulbus? It doesn't really matter, Regardless, he's a rather boring character. He's only here for, one 10-minute story section. And basically, Combo takes him downtown to buy a bunch of parts for Tony because, like I said, he's sick, so they need to buy new parts for him. And Bulbus gets lost because he starts, going around to various stores buying new stickers and hubcaps and tires and all kinds of stuff for himself. When he shows up at the end of the movie, he doesn't even look like himself anymore. He's just completely redone his paint job and everything. He looks like a new car. And admits he'll never forget his friends again. Like, friends? Like, you mean you won't forget your cousin again? Because how are you friends with Combo after, less than a day? You hung out with the dude once. He's like an acquaintance to you. And you ditched him to have, stickers and stuff put on yourself. Some friendship.
Sorry, I went to this body shop to get a sticker, but I couldn't choose between the stickers and all the other things they had there. The shiny hubcaps and fancy bumpers and all the different tires. I was mesmerized by a buyable buffet of automotive beauty. I just wanted to make myself better than I was.
Then we get a third story where the Wrangler finally returns. Yes, I know, they waited for forever to bring back the Wrangler. And he tries to trick the Samson, a big, massive truck that, helps set up the stage for the hot rods. Singing sensation that's been going strong for apparently years. And apparently Wrangler tries to trick him into rigging the podium to collapse at the end of the race by weakening a few screws. And he's basically like, what, you think I'm stupid? So he ditches the Wrangler, so the Wrangler does it himself. So Samson arranges for him to be put up on the podium, so he's the one that gets to suffer when it collapses. And they have it collapse in a way that looks really amateurish.
Here you go, pal. The podium is all yours.
Not the podium!
But I guess I shouldn't be surprised, because in that episode, they have cars in the background watching the racetrack, even though there's no one racing there at the time. Like, what are they doing? They also look like, like cheap PS1 graphics or something you'd see, while playing like an old baseball game or something where they have, fans in the crowd that'd be completely two-dimensional. Yeah, something like that. Maybe, probably even cheaper than that, even.
Do you race a lot?
Not much anymore. It's a pretty hard life to choose, see? I trusted the wrong people, so they sabotaged me and I quit.
And then the fourth story, the Wrangler returns, but he gives himself a new paint job that washes off with water. Yeah, a really cheap paint job, apparently.
Please remain calm. Everything's under control. We'll have this fire out in a moment.
And he's pushing some snake oil, saying it's a super tonic that can fix all your eels. Got radiator issues? Drink my super tonic. Have engine problems? Drink my super tonic. You have electrical problems? Drink my super tonic. It fixes everything. And his super tonics is just nitro, which obviously damages cars when they drink it. And, leads to Mr. V8 catching on fire because he gets addicted to the stuff for a little bit. He's like, it makes me feel so much better and faster, until, it started not working for him. He's like, oh man, I'm burning up. Like, I'm having flames come out of my back end even when I'm not accelerating. So yeah, and the final movie with Wrangler getting arrested because he's an escaped convict. So yeah, I'm a bit surprised he didn't get arrested at the end of his first appearance then, because he admits when he first shows up he escaped from jail. You'd think they would have arrested him after the podium collapsed. Like, did he manage to drive off afterwards? Like, how? Like, he had everything collapse on top of him. You think he would have been pinned for at least a little bit. I mean, I guess it did slide off like magic, so, maybe he wasn't as injured as he should have been. But yeah, this series still looks awful. We get some city shots, and they look unbelievably bad.
You go back to the same store where we got the other parts, and I'll get backups at other stores, just to make sure. Then we'll meet back here, all right?
I understand why they avoid putting buildings in there putting in as few buildings as possible, because they put in zero effort when it comes to laying them out. Like, some of them don't even look perfectly square. Like, what is going on here? And the fire effect looks awful on Mr. V8. Like, it's just all bad. And it's about the only reason you'll probably enjoy this is because it's just so amazingly bad. That it might, put a smile on your face like, I can't believe they're this incompetent and they push stuff out constantly. And this, like I said, isn't even like the worst of the stuff they put out there. Like, What's Up and Ratatouille are worse. And a lot of the stuff they put out also happens to have scripts when they get translated, assuming they're being accurately translated, are pretty racist and stuff too. Usually, it's bad. Like, I wouldn't really recommend anyone watch any of these movies, unless they're looking for some really awful stuff. Till next time, then. See ya.
Mind your own business, you hunk of junk.
You're a cheat, and your disguise is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's not a very aerodynamic mustache, dude.